BTS News Today. The air in Zurich carried that peculiar calm that only certain cities in the world possess, where silence doesn't feel empty and luxury hides behind restraint. Early morning light reflected on the glass facade of the Bauer Olak Hotel, diffused by a thin layer of fog that rolled gently across the nearby Limmat River. Inside, Jungkook's schedule had already begun long before the city fully woke up. Dressed simply in a black hoodie and cap, he walked through the private corridor that connected the executive floor to the underground parking area. At his left, as always, was Mr. Lee, his longtime security chief and the quiet sentinel who had become almost synonymous with Jungkook's public presence. Just a few steps behind followed the man everyone in the industry knew as Manager Kim, carrying two phones, a folded itinerary, and an expression of practiced calm. From the outside, it was a familiar sight. But to those who had followed Jungkook's international journey closely, the question lingered persistently. Why are they always there? Why is it that wherever Jungkook goes, from Los Angeles to Tokyo, Doha to now Zurich, these two figures shadow him like an invisible perimeter? And why, unlike other idols, does Jungkook rarely appear alone, even during moments that seem personal or private? The truth, as revealed during several quiet conversations with industry sources close to HYB and those who have traveled with the singer, is far more intricate than fans might imagine. What seems like simple security protocol is, in reality, part of a carefully structured system. One that was born from necessity, emotion, and the silent weight of being Jungkook of BTS in a post-pandemic, hyperdigital world. By 9:15 a.m., Jungkook had already completed his vocal rehearsal inside a rented studio near Lake Zurich. The space was discreet, chosen not for aesthetics but for privacy. When he entered, the few local technicians present bowed politely, then silently disappeared into the adjoining control room, leaving only Jungkook, his vocal director, and the faint hum of audio equipment. Outside the glass, Mr. Lee stood like a statue, his phone pressed to his ear, monitoring the exterior hallway through small mirrored panels. Manager Kim checked messages from HYB headquarters, coordinating upcoming interviews with European outlets and filtering dozens of requests that would never reach Jungkook's attention. "He's not just a global artist," said a source close to Jungkook's European team, who agreed to speak on condition of anonymity. "He's a symbol, and symbols attract chaos." Mr. Lee's role goes far beyond bodyguard duties. He knows Jungkook's patterns, when he's tired, when he's overwhelmed, even when he's pretending to be fine. Sometimes he'll redirect a whole schedule just to give Jungkook an hour to breathe. That need for breath has become increasingly vital over the past 2 years. Jungkook's rise as a solo performer has transformed him from the youngest member of BTS to a full-fledged global icon. The solo spotlight, while exhilarating, also comes with new layers of scrutiny. His fans track every movement, social media amplifies every gesture, and rumors swirl faster than ever before. Amidst that noise, Mr. Lee and Manager Kim serve not only as shields but as stabilizers, the quiet constants in an existence defined by perpetual motion. One afternoon in Zurich, the trio moved through Bahnhofstrasse under heavy drizzle. A few fans recognized Jungkook despite his low cap and mask, but Mr. Lee's firm, yet polite gestures kept the crowd at a distance. Jungkook paused briefly outside a local cafe, his gaze drawn to the soft glow inside. "Let's sit for a bit," he murmured, almost to himself. Within seconds, Manager Kim assessed the environment, coordinated with the cafe staff, and ensured a quiet corner table was cleared. For 20 minutes, Jungkook sipped his coffee silently. Mr. Lee stood near the window, back straight, eyes scanning the street. Manager Kim scrolled through emails, ready to intercept any incoming calls. It was a simple scene, but deeply symbolic, a portrait of modern celebrity, where solitude must be curated and even a cup of coffee becomes a strategic operation. "It's not about control," explained one of Jungkook's former tour coordinators when asked about the tight proximity of his team. "It's about trust." Jungkook doesn't trust easily, not because he's distant, but because the scale of his fame means every misstep echoes worldwide. Mr. Lee and Manager Kim have proven, time and again, that they understand not just his safety, but his silence. They know when not to speak. That silence became particularly significant earlier this year, when Jungkook was rumored to have canceled several private appearances. Officially, it was due to scheduling conflicts. Unofficially, sources revealed that the singer had been struggling with exhaustion, physical and emotional, after a relentless series of overseas commitments. During those weeks, Mr. Lee was reportedly the one who enforced a no-contact policy, limiting external communication and shielding Jungkook from unnecessary meetings. Mr. Lee doesn't just protect him from fans, another insider said. He protects him from burnout. In Zurich, this dynamic was visible in subtle gestures. Before entering any venue, Mr. Lee always walked ahead, assessing lighting, exits, and line of sight. During rehearsals, manager Kim adjusted microphones, not because it was his job, but because he knew exactly how Jungkook preferred his setup. They operated like clockwork, 3 individuals moving through foreign spaces as one unit. Late one evening, after a long studio session, Jungkook was seen walking toward the hotel terrace overlooking the river. The sky had dimmed into deep cobalt, reflecting lights that shimmered like ripples of gold. Mr. Lee followed quietly, stopping a few feet behind, while manager Kim leaned against the doorway, giving them both space. Sometimes, Jungkook said softly, his voice barely audible against the breeze, "I forget where I am until someone tells me." "It's strange, isn't it?" Mr. Lee didn't respond, just nodded once. It wasn't the kind of moment that required words. Those who have observed them closely describe their dynamic as wordless understanding, a bond forged not from friendship in the casual sense, but from shared responsibility. In many ways, Mr. Lee and manager Kim have become extensions of Jungkook's world, bridging the fragile line between the man and the myth. Industry observers note that such constancy is rare. Most artists, especially at Jungkook's level, rotate teams frequently depending on regions or specific projects. Yet Jungkook's insistence on maintaining the same core team across continents has intrigued many. It's part of why he remains so grounded, explained one senior executive familiar with HYB's international operations. He travels the world, but he's surrounded by familiar energy. That continuity is what keeps him human in an environment designed to consume you. Indeed, Zurich was just one stop in a series of international appearances, part of a confidential brand collaboration, and a recording project that few outside his immediate circle knew about. During that week, Mr. Lee coordinated daily movement schedules with local security, ensuring that no hotel staff ever revealed room details, and manager Kim pre-approved every photo shoot condition down to the temperature of the studio. By the final day in Zurich, Jungkook appeared noticeably lighter. As his car departed the hotel, a small group of fans waved from the corner of the street, holding banners and phones. Jungkook rolled down his window briefly, smiling, his eyes meeting theirs for a fleeting moment. Mr. Lee, seated in the front passenger seat, subtly checked the rear-view mirror, scanning the crowd's behavior. Manager Kim, sitting beside Jungkook, quietly handed him a water bottle. "You don't have to do that every time," Jungkook told him with a small grin. "I know," manager Kim replied, "but you would forget." That exchange captured something fundamental about their relationship, not obligation, but care. Behind every public appearance, there's an intricate web of unseen labor that allows the artist to simply exist. For Jungkook, that web is woven daily by 2 men who rarely make the headlines yet define the stability of his career. When asked later about the speculation surrounding Mr. Lee's constant presence, a HYB representative responded with characteristic restraint. Jungkook's global activities involve complex logistics and security protocols. Mr. Lee and his team are essential to ensuring his safety and well-being at all times. But off-record, others are more candid. He trusts them like family, one staff member admitted. They've been with him through moments that fans will never know, times when he's been frustrated, tired, or uncertain. They don't just accompany him, they anchor him. In Zurich, as night settled again and Jungkook prepared to leave for his next destination, the same pattern unfolded. Mr. Lee walked ahead to secure the path, Manager Kim handled the paperwork, and Jungkook followed quietly, hands in his pockets, headphones around his neck. Three silhouettes moved through the hotel's private exit. 1 star, 2 constants, stepping into another day of cameras, expectations, and continents that blurred together. And somewhere in that rhythm of motion, between arrival gates and hotel corridors, lies the understated truth. Mr. Lee and Jungkook's manager aren't merely part of his entourage. They are the invisible guardians of his peace, the architects of his quiet amid the noise. They don't just follow him everywhere. They make it possible for him to keep going. Would you like me to create the YouTube thumbnail version 16:9 English text for this article next, with a visual design that matches